Of Cornerstone Church for our invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this wonderful earth that you have given us to live in, and especially we thank you tonight for this wonderful city. It's a beautiful place, God. May we do our best to take care of it. And now, God, we pray for wisdom for these servants of yours here, these men and women who will be making decisions tonight regarding our city. Please fill them with your wisdom that they might honor you with the decisions they make. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this time, we'll call to order this May 20th, 2013 City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Rundquist.
Here.
Sinsland.
Here.
Hicks.
Him.
Sinsland.
Here.
Tyre.
Here.
Rachels.
Here.
Fish.
Here. There are no public, oh yes, I'm sorry, there is a public hearing this evening, and we'll call on Guy Taylor to tell us about it.
All right, so this is our requirement for our annual public hearing and education for our MS4 permit. So I'll just briefly go through the notes I've jotted down for you. There's roughly 100 miles of storm sewer pipe in the city, along with open ditches. Along with that, there's other structures, gutters, catch basins, manholes, and retention ponds. The MPCA has determined that all of these are waters of the state and has mandated that we have a plan called the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan in place to lessen impacts on other bodies of water. In terms of stormwater, the MPCA has given the municipal separate storm sewer systems the short name of MS4, and each city must obtain a permit to discharge to the other bodies of water. This next bullet, I said it last year exactly as it's written. We're operating under the 2006 permit, expecting the new permit to be issued any day. That's still any day. Where there is a meeting tomorrow that the Stormwater Coalition and the League are having with the MPCA, and we'll know soon after that when this permit will be issued. Some of the things that are significant in the new permit, I'll just highlight briefly. There's going to be 66 new requirements if it's implemented as it's stated now in the permit in the draft. The permit application and the SWIP documents are required to be submitted by the city to the MPCA within 150 days of issuance. The League is trying to get that extended to 180 days, so we'll see if we get a little extra time there. Like I mentioned, that meeting is slated for 9 o'clock tomorrow. Hopefully be able to catch a lot of that on the web. They've got a request in with the team of lawyers to just leave in place the 2006 permit and with just a couple changes, and that request is just based on the economic impact that the new permit will have on the cities. So hopefully the PCA will listen to reason. Another change in that proposed permit is an inspection program that covers 100% of the system each year. Right now, we're required to inspect 25%, so that would be a significant change. A couple other things, we're still running, or again running, the PSAs on PEG. We'll continue to do that through the summer, and we will be scheduling a training session on best practices for our public works staff. So that's best practices for us as a city, and then also awareness training for the employees on what to look for as far as suspect illicit discharges.
Any questions of Mr. Taylor? Yes.
Guy, what was the date of issuance then? When did your clock start running?
It has not started yet.
It hasn't started
No.
yet?
The MPCA, the Stormwater Coalition, and the League are meeting tomorrow, and
To
we'll,
determine the day of issuance. Right, thank you.
Any other questions? Have we met our obligation?
to have a public hearing. Okay.
All right, then we'll open the hearing for any discussion, questions, whatever. Any comments from the audience or from the staff? Any others from the council? We've met our obligation. The hearing is closed. Thank you. There are no bids to award this evening. Under petitions and communications, item 1 is a regional treatment center proposal from Terrence Schultz and discussion by the council regarding that proposal. Mr. Schultz, welcome.
Additional information that you already received.
Thank you.
Terrence, would it be possible?
I can give it to Jay, who's not here
Oh,
then.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. My name, as the mayor said, my name is Terrence Schultz. I'm the spokesperson for a group of individuals and investors who have been looking at the Regional Treatment Center since November, trying to develop a concept that we think would greatly enhance the facility and add an incredible economic boost to the community at large, and to give Fergus Falls a international impact to travelers and individuals from around the world. I got involved with this kind of, I tell people, sort of as an odd way. I was having coffee one morning, and it was a Friday morning, and the Friday paper, or business section of the Minneapolis Tribune has the commercial real estate transactions in it. And there was this little 1.5-inch column about this building up in Fergus Falls, that if somebody didn't come up with a concept soon, it was going to be torn down. It gave an email address that you could go to take a look at it. And so I rushed home, took a look at it, and went, oh my gosh, can't believe this is going to get torn down. And my background is I'm a degreed architect, and so the passion for structures like that runs deep. And so I just felt I had to make a phone call. I made a phone call to Colliers, which then got me in touch with Harold, who then took me through the building, and that started the wheels turning. And as I stood in front of the building, the first thing that came to mind was luxury resort. I mean, it just kind of stands there and just kind of screams at you, kind of thing. And so, taking a look at it in those terms, you know, as a resort, it would be, you know, luxury. And so what then is going to make somebody come to West Central Minnesota to stay at a hotel, you know, a luxury type facility? And that led into the thought of going into a health and wellness spa, which then led, as I say, it's like we've had this lotus blossom that every day just keeps opening up and gets bigger and grander, kind of thing. And so we've now gone down so many different paths, exploring so many different things, to where we're now at yes, it's a luxury hotel. It's also a spa, but it's also a health and wellness, executive wellness center. It's a medical facility. In fact, its focus is on obesity, weight reduction, diabetes, alternative medicines, all kinds of things. And as we were going through all our processes of creating our concepts and evaluating things, Historic Properties also came to visit. And they made their presentation, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. And since that point, I think most all of you have received a letter of understanding that the two groups have now come together and are looking to join forces to work together on the development of the facility. And although their emphasis was in housing, potential of a hotel, and some eateries, we believe what we're looking at, although works with what they're looking to do, I believe we augment it even stronger to make it a better project in the long run. We're not opposed to the housing. We feel there's a need for that in what we're trying to do. Restaurants, although our plan shows restaurants, but being a health and wellness type facility, the restaurants we require would be more for the need that fits the programs for the people that are attending. And so the restaurants wouldn't be a competition to local established restaurants already in town. So we hope that when everything is said and done, that this will be quite a complex. We've been in talks with the Lake Regions Hospital. They've expressed interest in being involved, especially in the planning and as the project goes forward. We've talked with Michelle Anderson at the Springboard Arts Program and have gone the opportunities that abound with working with them, creating artisan programs that will take place within the facility. We're looking at artisan flats, studio spaces, the potential to create sculpture gardens, landscape gardens. I mean, it's our intention that the main lawn stays in place. I mean, that is the thing that sets this building up. So to reestablish that into gardens and elements such like that, we just feel really strong about it. Our hope is that as we develop this, that we would engage local contractors as much as possible, local suppliers as much as possible. I mean, it is a large complex. It's going to take someone with some decent size company and staffing to be able to do an undertaking like this. But I think we would want to write contracts and stuff so that we get a local involvement in it. Our projections right now, as we see the facility, we're looking at an employment base of probably north of 300 people to manage everything that we're talking about in the facility. With a fair number of these jobs are going to be in that medical research type thing. So, I mean, we will have, a job base that's going to go from fairly significant wage base to also, we're definitely, we're going to have housekeepers and busboys and things like that, which are going to be, part-time jobs, but you need, the whole gamut to make a project like this work. Like I said, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, it's just every day we get contacted from more and more people. Medical facilities, medical organizations. The phones are constantly going, emails are constantly going. The thing that I want to make sure everybody understands, although we have no issues and we enjoy the opportunity and welcome the opportunity to join with Mr. Willie in historic properties, we're not predicated on getting the housing tax credits. That is not part of our issue with this. And had we done this on our own, it would not have been part of our plan to go after that. So we do not have that, I don't want to say timeline, but we don't have that issue to deal with. And if for some reason they were not to get their tax housing credits, we would still move forward. So we're not predicated on that in order for us to move forward on the project. And so I just want to make sure everybody understands that although we have no issues, that's not key to us. We also have been talking with Jeff Schlossman, who owns the outlet, well, I want to call him the outlining, but the rest of the complex. And he has also agreed to join in with us on creating a complete master plan for the project so that we can develop the whole complex, not just parts of the complex all at one time. And part of what is being considered for his buildings would be an international high school that would bring in, again, that international aspect to things. The thing that makes Fergus Falls really exciting when we get into this, I mean, it's unusual to have a town of this size. First of all, with a structure like this, that you can even do something like this, but you have an airport that's capable of handling private jets and mid-sized jets. So for bringing people in from around the world, it makes this just a really unique opportunity. And we hope that by bringing in people from around the world and around the country, because, and I apologize for rambling, I'm not a public speaker, so as thoughts are going through my brain. The way we hoped, or we not even hoped, the way we know that we're going to be bringing people into this wellness center is through the health assessment companies. And if you're not aware of health assessment companies, pretty much all of the major companies now have these health assessment companies that will come in and screen their employees. And they screen them for various things, blood pressure, blood sugars, all these sorts of things. And then they call employees up and ask them how they're doing and try to set them up on programs. One of the companies we're talking with is one of the largest health assessment companies in the world. And they do this for over 3,000 companies just within the United States. The majority of these companies are privately insured. They're not insured by Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Medi-Cal, or things like that. They run their own health programs. And so the ability to do something with an employee to help them get on a wellness track is important to them because of the cost of having to deal with somebody who has heart issues and diabetes or any number of things that happen through this. So here we are bringing in all of these various executives and people from various companies. And it's our hope that by them being here, they're also then see the benefits of a town like Fergus Falls. And maybe as they go back to their companies, they're able to, if the company's expanding or looking for relocations of divisions and things like that, they'll remember where they were and how they were treated and the benefits of a town such as this. And that too may help in the economic growth of the area. I think part of one of the things in your package you see foundation called BFW, which actually stands for Becker Furniture World. And Doug Huseby, who is the owner and founder of Becker Furniture World, also owns a company called the Ultimate Wellness Center. And Doug has been very interested in being part of this as well. And with the Ultimate Wellness Center and the BFW Foundation, Doug has been doing incredible things with pain reduction for veterans. He's been able to take veterans who have come back that are unable to even walk because of pain, that have been confined to wheelchairs, and with 6 to 8 treatments have been able to walk. And so he sees this wellness center as an opportunity to bring that aspect into it and to expand on that, which could then also lead into some retraining and helping these people get back on their feet and out and part of society. We've talked with some individuals about the potential, especially with the school complex, of maybe a school that would house by semesters children that are overweight who may be being bullied in their communities or in their schools, that they would come on a semester basis through programs that help them with their weight issues and nutrition and factors, while still being able to go to school and be able to then return home and have a new sense of confidence and self-esteem. It's, like I said, it's just been an ongoing thing of finding all of these incredible opportunities that we feel are part of this. That although we call it a spa, because I think it's it's a term everybody can kind of grasp what a spa is, but this is so much more than a spa. It's something so totally, unique in a way. I mean, there are health and wellness centers throughout the country. There are a number of them throughout the country. What I would say the grand dam of them all is Canyon Ranch in Tucson, Arizona. But this takes it far beyond that into a complete lifestyle changes and more of a cutting edge. We've been talking with the Minnesota Agribusiness Council. They're interested in being part of this and bringing it into the food industry. In Minnesota, we have some of the biggest food companies in the world. They're all trying to get out in front of these issues. And they're looking at this as a way that they can be involved in the funding the research and things of that nature. We're talking with another gentleman who's an extreme sports athletic trainer. He trains people to do extreme sports, mountain climbing, kayaking, some of the most incredible rivers in the world. He's interested in being part of this and bringing in his clients to go through training and help setting up the programs. It's, like I said, it's been just this roller coaster ride. And although we don't have everything totally established, I would love to say we're set to go, but we would be on a time frame that it would take, just to complete getting everything lined up, getting drawings ready, getting bidding done, things of that nature, we're probably looking, anywhere from 9 months to a year, with construction taking probably another 18 months to 2 years to where we would be operational. So we're not looking to phase this in over 5-6 years type thing. The intent is to move quickly, kind of thing. And we want to bring it back. We want to bring it back to what it was. It was a place where people went to get healed. And that's our goal with this, is to reestablish it as a place people come to be healed. And the world knows Minnesota as that place you go. I mean, destination health and Minnesota are pretty much synonymous. I mean, you have Mayo Clinic and you have Hazelton, two of the premier places that people from around the world come to to get their lives turned around. And it's our feeling Fergus Falls can be part of that three-legged milk stool. That it can be that other anchor that helps bring Minnesota even on the cutting edge of something that is just starting really to take root. I mean, we're getting into genomes and all this sort of stuff where if you have a problem losing weight, they can do a genome study on you and figure out why you're different than somebody else, why this program works for one person and nothing the other. I mean, it's just phenomenal what's out there and the possibilities. And I think that working with historic properties and with the concepts we have, I think that we're going to find that it will be something that everybody in the community can be really proud of and excited to know that it's there. I know a lot of people have said, that building is just so huge, how in the world would you ever begin to use it all? The interesting thing is that when we actually sat down and started blocking out space, the building isn't as big as you think. Without half of what I've even just laid out here, we've used pretty much the whole complex. And somebody the other day, I think, made the best analogy I've heard, because pretty much everybody walks up there or drives up there and goes, wow, this is such a huge structure. And yet the building in so many places is less than 40 feet wide, which makes it actually rather difficult to work with. And so when you drive up there, you see that massive wall. I mean, all you see is wall from one side to the other, and it's just so overpowering. And I think when he said that's the problem, everybody sees a big wall. They don't necessarily see the space that's there. And I think you've probably seen enough floor plans to realize that, yeah, we've pretty much used the vast majority of this. About the only thing in these preliminary drawings that you have right now that is not used is the powerhouse building and the fourth floor attics. And as we're going through this, I know for a fact we'll be using every bit of that too. I mean, we look at the powerhouse building alone, what an incredible place for artisan studios with big, people that want to do big sculpture pieces and things of that nature. I think we can make, with Michelle's help, we could make this one of the largest artisan communities in the country. And she's got some incredible ideas and concepts. We want to keep the building or the grounds open to the public. Art festivals, music festivals, all of those kinds of things that could still take place there. And we, like I said, as we go along with this, we're going to want community involvement. We want community input, so that we don't want to just be that group that came in and, we want everybody to feel like they had a say and part in developing the whole concept. I guess, is there questions? I'm pretty much, as much as my brain can remember, I just don't my guts.
I'm sure there are some questions. We'll just open it up here. Anthony has always got a question.
I think obviously it's, it's well laid out, and I'm glad to see that you've at least put some thought into the financial side of it. I mean, that's ultimately, it's about risk assessment and risk mitigation. Obviously there's a content where you're looking, from a local small investment. Is that, how critical is
That's
that?
not critical. The reason we put that in there was, again, wanting to make it part of the community. So what I wanted to do was create a small investor pool of community folks that would like to say, I own part of that. You know, I helped make that happen. And that's really the purpose for it.
Right. Right. And then I suppose ultimately the next question would be then, you know, obviously I'd like to know what you're actually asking for tonight from the council.
Well,
or is it just informative?
Yeah, the goal is that we're looking along with historic properties, the commitment from the city to say, yes, you've got this goal. Because that, to be honest with you, that's part of the issue we're having when we're talking to people. Well, do you have control of it? Well, no, we don't have control of it. So then it's like, well, when you get control of it, I'm really interested, you know, kind of thing. And so we need to be able to say to investors and these various organizations that want to be part of this, yes, we have control, we're in control now. There's nobody else coming in, the building's not being torn down, you know, we have the ability to move forward. And I guess that's what we're looking for, is that ability to move forward.
And then I suppose one final question would be, obviously you're looking at 60 million. Do you think that's, I mean, have you got something that would support that as an estimate down the road? I mean,
it's an estimate down the road.
Yeah.
I've talked to Ryan, I've talked to a couple different construction companies, you know, based on how many square feet we were, at what that drawings were based on. Ryan Construction, out of, actually their historic properties, a portion of their companies in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And so I've been in conversations with them. They felt basically what we're looking at is about a $2 or $200 a square, $2, wish it was
yeah, only.
$200 is, I mean, God. But $200 a square foot for redevelopment costs. And they felt that was a reasonable number.
So that would be the cash versus the historic, any tax credits or anything?
Right.
Would be on
Yeah,
top
I mean,
of
what we're looking at is $60 million as the budget number, and then you start working on all the tax credits and all of that to help bring that total investment, actual cash investment down.
Right.
Yeah, when you toss out that $60 million figure, are you talking about what your entity's share would be if you were to proceed by yourself, or
Yeah.
you in combination with
That would
historic
have
properties?
been ours as its own entity. We, at this point, like I said, Mr. Willie and I have had some phone conversations. We came to the agreement just within the day. And so the one of the first phone calls after this meeting is to Ray. And then it's, you know, okay, you know, here we go. Now we need to get together and figure out how we're going to, you know, totally work together to make this all happen. Which obviously then, if he's taking over part of this, we're taking over part of this, possibly Jeff is taking over his part. We don't know exactly what the numbers will be yet. But I used that 60 million, I mean, the numbers that you saw were the numbers used for our purposes, if we were have done it, you know, exclusively.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Randy?
Yeah, just with this letter of understanding, and maybe they could direct this towards city staff, it works best to have one lead and not two leads, and I'm just wondering, based on this letter of understanding, who would be the lead?
Mark, please.
Well, I can take a shot at that, and I'll probably ask Ken to come up, is that we'd be looking at some type of action from the council tonight that states that you're working with this joint entity, and probably also, you know, directing Kent to, possibly put together that letter of intent that that's what we're doing. And from what I read here that I got from Terrence and Ray is that they're looking at this time frame between now and, roughly November 1, where, Ray's doing his part with the application for tax credits. Terrence is still doing his part of working on the other components of his project. And we want to enter into some type of an agreement that gives them the time to do that. I think if, in a perfect world, where we would end up around December or November 1st, is that then they would know that their project is ready to go, and we would enter into a development agreement, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, is then when you're looking at, the 9 months to a year to put together all the plans, construction documents and those things, and then move to construction into those phases. So there's still a phase here, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
That everything's got to still come together yet, but it's in that process. And they need some times and some commitments to be able to work on that.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with your concept that you kind of need one-headed versus the two-headed monster.
Yeah.
And I think that down the road, we're still trying to figure out really where that will go, whether it becomes a new partnership, that's established just for this project under one umbrella kind of thing. I think like I said, since the last council meeting that you heard from Mr. Willie, we've been, frantically, I mean, to be real honest, we weren't ready to do this pitch. I mean, we were probably another month and a half to where we would have been really comfortable about doing this, but at the same time, this is probably great. And it made everything move a little faster. So I'm not, concerned about that, but those are just some, I wish I had a great answer for you, I just don't. But it's something we understand we need to delve into.
But do we not have to come up with a guarantee to investors that should Mr. Willie go forward with his project and that the city would in fact sell that property to Mr. Willie, and that you have your project and that the city would sell your project, or make sure that you had the facility to bring that forth?
And I believe probably that's the way we'll end up doing it. Again, like I said, I wish I could tell you, but I just don't know, kind of thing. Because for one thing, we haven't determined where Ray's housing would actually end up within the complex, so that's going to change how you would structure if you were to split it into separate property IDs, how that would be split yet. So those are things we need to work out, probably even within this time frame before he goes for his application, because there may be a part of that application that may ask for where that housing is going to be located within the complex.
Yeah, and I have been talking with Ray, and I think he had alluded to last time that he would need a letter of support from the council to do this project, and he needs that as part of his application. And he was also going to send some sample documentation because he needs something from the city with his application that gives him an option to purchase, so that the feds are assured that if they are going to assign the tax credits, that then we'll sell the property so that he can move ahead with this project. And I just haven't seen that document yet. What I told him is that we would probably have to deal with that at the next council meeting because his application is due the 18th.
Yes. So. Yeah. Very good. Stan, you had
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is this agreement with Mr. Willie something that just come about because of joint interest, or something you actually look forward to supporting one another? Or you're just trying to work it out for our sakes?
Yes and no. Yes, I mean, it's come about because of joint interest. I think historic properties brings some knowledge of dealing with, historic buildings and that aspect. I think we bring a total concept that I believe is stronger, and I think uses the facilities in a far superior way. So I think there's some synergy that by joining together, we're able to do more and do it more quickly, kind of thing. And does it make it easier? Yes. I mean, I think if it solves the issue, if everybody wins in this thing, why not? It saves an incredible structure. And when I started this thing, that was the goal. Everything else has been a fun trip so far.
Ben?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, in the timeline that you laid out, in the funding, securing the funding, where does that fit in, and what do you have, certain deadlines or certain goals that you?
Within, before we could go, securing our funding would our timeline on securing the funding is probably within the next 60 days. I mean, we have a few things to do, but we do have some people definitely incredibly interested. And so, that would be the goal. I mean, you can never say that that's the certainty, but.
Your Honor.
Scott?
And the funding, Ben touched on it, but when it comes down to that date of November 1st, if your funding is not in order, is that the day that you'd probably decide one or the other if you were going to do this?
Yeah, I mean, if it came down to, I probably would even be before the November 1st. We would just assign everything over to historic properties and let them move forward. But like I said, at the same time, if our funding is in place and they're not able to get their housing credits, at the same time, the hope would be that they would then assign their interest over to us.
Yeah. And then you would continue with, I'm not sure which, east or west, whatever, but you'd continue with the rest of it, or you just finish your part and then?
Well, we would do the whole thing. I mean, to be real honest, there are so many potential things that we could include into this complex that the housing may be a problem, that we could use the space. And I know, like I said, everybody looks at that building and goes, how in the world can you possibly think that? But it's when you look at that whole kitchen complex and the dining halls, I need all of that just for the spa aspect alone. The hotel aspect wraps everything but detached east and detached west. And potentially, if there's two ways that this gets structured in terms of people coming in and using the facilities. There's going to be those that are privately insured, and there will be those that are insured by major insurance companies. And those people that are not coming in as an executive probably are going to need a less elaborate room. And so we would be using some of those other, like detached east and west, possibly for some of those more, for lack of a better term, insurance rate rooms, but also for potentially that veterans aspect of this also.
It sounds to me like you have a grand plan. How is that going to work in with the other entity? I mean, you already know what you want to do with the whole place. How are you going to be able to work that in with them?
It really depends, and like I said, these are some of the discussions we still have to have. But when we're talking artisan flats, if historic properties is online with that, that covers 25 to 30, probably 25 of his apartments. So, and with the veterans portion, that could cover another 25. So we have use for his housing. It's just how it all gets structured, especially with his application. In the worst case scenario, we have to build an addition.
Randy.
And I got another question, and again, I'll probably direct this towards staff and the the timing of the grant funds, assuming that things move forward with either one or both of these entities, that
Randy, would you speak up a little, please?
that the timing of the grant funds, and I believe was it right around $4 million remaining for potential use for city-owned infrastructure improvements on that facility. Does the timing for these plans fit into our ability to tap into those funds?
I guess, I can start with that one, Mark, talk about that. Yeah, the extension that the city has requested to the legislature, that would address not only the timeline, which would fit well with what's being discussed here, but it would also potentially allow some other uses from what we're allowed to do with the money right now. So if they do come up and have their master plan, that would then allow us to spend that money under the grant in areas where we could get reimbursed for that. So that would work well. I mean, it's just a matter of the actual extension of the grant timeline. But that would fit, what we've asked for would fit with what they're talking about.
Thank you.
May I just interject what's happening with the extension at the present moment? We will know by midnight tonight whether or not a revised bonding plan is being proposed from the House of Representatives, and we have key legislators, Minority Leader, our own Representative Bud Nornis, and the bonding chairman, Alice Hausman, that are working very hard. They have us in that revised bill and working very hard to get the support to bring it forward and have it voted on and meet the need that we have. It's entirely possible that it will come to pass, and it's entirely possible that it won't. But if it does not, I think there's enough energy and interest and concern about saving this facility and accommodating the extension of the grant between the governor's office, the Department of Administration, the legislature, and us. And I am confident that somehow we will be able to make some kind of an effort that will give us that extension. And even if it has to wait till next year's attempt at the bonding bill, I think something will happen before that, and we'll have the assurances that that investors and all of us need in that regard. There's nothing certain on this earth, however. Any other questions?
Our goal is always has been too, that as we, not only as we built this and redeveloped this project, that we also look at bringing it up to what is, if you're familiar with LEED standards, which is basically high efficiency energy type things, that we would bring the building up to hopefully a platinum level, which is the highest level that you can attain on a LEED program. We'd be looking at, the building has no mechanical systems in it, especially when you're working at a hotel type thing. But I know that there's been a study on heat pump or groundwater sourcing. We'd be looking at that. We'd be looking at solar, potential wind generated, but a new technology of wind generating that is not the big turbines. So we're not proposing to do 3 big turbines at top of the bill. Gentleman in Chaska has come up with a new system that is not much higher than 2.5 stories and looks more like a building. It's quite the interesting system. So and hopefully, if we're successful in generating enough power for ourselves, that we can work with the city and use some of that power to augment out there on the lighting systems of town, things of that nature. So, and I just, like I said, I want everybody to understand, we are, like I said before, I do believe that we're looking north of 300 potential employees. And the other thing is that because we are technically a hotel, we would also look at putting a hotel tax on our rooms that would then bring money back to the city also. Kind of thing. And we're not, again, because we're a hotel, we're not in competition with existing hotels in town. Our rooms are meant for the people that are coming to go through our programs. We're not trying to capture the people driving through town. So we hope that we would be a good fit and that we're not here to try and drive people that have been here a long time out of business by trying to run up them.
Questions, comments?
I'd like to make a recommendation that we, the city staff, obviously draft out a letter of support to the combined projects, the historic development and the curb ride, and that I think we need something that says, by the close of business on November the 1st, that they come back with obviously recommendational proposals.
Are you making that a motion?
I would suggest a resolution.
Resolution.
And authorizing the mayor and the city administrator to sign a document or letter of intent.
If I could ask, maybe
Mark?
I could ask Kent to come up and maybe
Yes, yeah.
sort some of that out. And
The language.
There's much more in there.
Thank you. Good evening. Mark and I did have a chance to kind of talk about these latest developments. And as I'm sitting here this evening, I think, great progress is made and some color has been filled in. But my concern is kind of a lack of clarity of who's going to lead this. And we don't want to grant competing exclusivity to two parties. So if we're going to do this, I think we would have until maybe the June 3rd meeting to develop the letter of understanding, letter of support, grant of site control, and then leave it to the two developers to decide who it's going to be directed to, if it's a joint venture, or if it's a new entity, or if it's one of them. But we need a person to grant these rights to and have a meeting of the minds with. And it sounds like there needs to be some work to develop exactly who that will be or what that will be. And if we had 2 weeks to develop this and flesh that out, I think that would be a good approach.
However, I think it's important in the meantime, I think Ray needs to know where we're at because
he needs to move forward.
He's moving forward, and so I don't know if it's, direction from the council to the staff and also giving an indication to this, partnership, that's our intent and so that Ray can feel comfortable moving ahead with, with his application as well.
I guess, I would suggest is that you do pass a resolution directing, as I indicated, the mayor and city administrator to authorizing them to sign such a document, but it would be presented at the next council meeting. But I think what your resolution would include is the exclusivity of this offer to Historic Properties, Inc. and to Mr.
Renovations.
Schultz as well, and that the document would be presented at the next council meeting for formal approval by the council. But I think for purposes of today's hearing, I think what you're really doing is giving Mr. Mattson marching orders to come up with a draft for that document. And
So would it be a draft? Are we resolution for drafting or authorizing to enter into?
Well, what I hear Mr. Seifert saying is that there should be some formal action tonight so that they can continue with their application on the tax credits. And so
Because I'm, of course, I'm always going to be hesitant of approving a document I've not seen yet,
Right.
so.
I think what you do is you authorize it through resolution, you pass the resolution if that's what you wish to do, but you condition it on basically that it's going to be reviewed at the next council meeting, such as this document. But I think what you're looking for is that basically nod from the city at this juncture.
So at this point, we're authorizing Kent to draft such an agreement, which will be reviewed.
Normally, you do that with a motion.
Okay.
And maybe a motion would be good enough. I don't know what the requirements are for him, but I think what I heard you say, Mr. Seifert, is that he really needs to know tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that was, the discussion that we had at the last council meeting, is that, he said, I can, easily wait until the next meeting, and then give him plenty of time, he'd be able to get his application together. And I just assumed that now that they've come to an agreement that they're working together, I think they're looking for some assurances from the council that, yes, this is what we're moving forward with, so that Ray can get busy and
Yeah, I don't think he, I hate to talk to Ray, but I don't know if he necessarily needs the signed paper. He needs to know that the city's behind it, so that if he moves forward, he knows that it's not going to just be yanked out from under him by the 18th.
In light of that, then, I think with that representation, I think then simply just a motion directing Mr. Matson to draft such a document for the council's review and possible approval at the next meeting.
Is that your motion?
That would be my motion.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Tim, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Yes, Mark.
I just also wanted to bring up is that we're at the end of our marketing agreement with Colliers International, and it is my assumption that that will be over and that we won't obviously be continuing to engage in services in that regard. But I just like to leave it open that if there are any reasons for consultation from Mr. Peterson, that we'd like to maybe have them review within any of the documentation that we review or anything like that, that we would have the liberty to contact him and go that way. So, but otherwise, we will be done with the marketing agreement.
When specifically, Mark, would that end?
I believe I was thinking it was May 31st. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott?
Mark, if we do enter into that agreement with him, is he going to put all the way out like so much an hour, or how is he going to do it for getting paid for that?
I'll contact him in that regard, because I had just simply talked to him about it, and I said, well, we have some, well, this was prior to having the signed agreement, but I said, these guys were working together, and he just said, well, if there's anything else, you need me to do, feel free to contact me. And, that's what I'll have to do. I'll just have to find out, what he may charge if we ask him to review a certain plan like that.
Thank you.
We'll see the need.
Any other questions?
Just while we're talking on RTC, I just want to confirm that the sump pumps the drain pumps are running. It seems we had quite a bit of water this weekend.
Yes, we pumped it out, finished that last week.
Yep.
I guess I will note, though, that we did put some barricades up on that northern loop drive. Today, there is a settlement related to the water line that was installed, and Park Construction, the contractor, is planning on mobilizing in the beginning of June to also deal with some deficiency on incinerator road, so just so you're aware of that.
Is there other actions? Do we need to officially acknowledge this letter of understanding?
I don't think so. I mean, this is agreement between them.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's our reference point.
All right. Any other actions that we need to take before we thank Mr. Schultz for his excellent presentation, and thank you for becoming involved?
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We look forward to some exciting times.
Going to segue to me, but it didn't happen.
What's that?
He was going to segue to me, but it didn't happen. And that was the
Is there anything that hasn't been said previously?
There's one item.
What, pardon me?
There's one item.
All right.
This was a watershed evening, and the one item that I would like to add is it took the effort of a lot of people, yourselves included, to get to this watershed evening. And last Friday night, I had the opportunity to be proud on behalf of the citizens of Fergus Falls at a special annual event that is called the Anti-Wrecking Ball. And it is hosted by the Preservation Alliance. It brings together people from all across our state who are sharing properties within their communities that are critical for preservation. We had 3 representatives there on behalf of Fergus Falls and the Kirkbride Castle that we have tonight talked about very positively. Those representatives didn't do their first task by any means on Friday night. They have contributed a significant portion of their lives and their times on our behalf over the years. And I think it would be very nice tonight to recognize Lori Mullen and Jean and Maxine Schmidt for the work that they have done over all of these years.
Thank you. There are many people that we have to thank, and I don't want to start listing them right now, but hopefully we'll have a big celebration at the end here. But thank everyone who's been involved here. Item 2, Convention and Visitor Bureau update. Jean Bowman.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thanks for a few minutes tonight. Boy, I feel like, I should have been the warm-up band because we'll talk about our year in review, and this summer will be my 10th anniversary, and who knows what this community could be like in 10 years. That's an exciting proposal. Really, this is just sort of my annual update with what last year held for the CVB, and in the interest of time, I'm going to trust that you will read the hand-produced written report that we provided for you. But for the benefit of our viewers at home, if you will, just a few quick updates. First of all, a reminder that the Convention and Visitors Bureau is a private, nonprofit organization. We're not a department of the city or the county or any body of government. We are funded by the lodging tax, in fact, that Mr. Schultz referred to, that is put on hotels in this community. So within our city taxing district, the hotel visitors do pay for almost 90% of our budget. So that's how we are funded. I am the only staff person, but I work closely with our Chamber of Commerce to assist with visitor inquiries and that kind of thing. Really, we're here to bring people to Fergus Falls and stay overnight in our hotels. Right now, we only have 300 hotel rooms, and again, who knows what the future may hold for that. One thing about the marketing that we do, and the official name of our kind of group is a Destination Marketing Organization, or a DMO, is that we can be very responsive to what's going on in the environment, and as we all know, gas prices have just skyrocketed. And what that means for us is our message may be the same, but we cast our net a little closer to home. So maybe instead of coming to our area from Chicago or Omaha, we're going to reach folks who are just in Minneapolis or Winnipeg or wanting to get out of the Western Dakotas for a weekend. So again, we cast that net a little bit closer. Our 2012 lodging tax barometer, if you will, was up 4%, and that's very consistent with what the state saw. So we're seeing that people are traveling more. It's interesting that having seen January and February's numbers for this year, those were up double digits, attributed to the bad weather. The snow had the interstate closed, and that drives people into our hotels because winter is not typically a big season for us. We are the part of the community that produces, if you will, our visitors guides and summer calendars of events and all the materials that a visitor gets when they come here. But these things are also found throughout the state of Minnesota, at the Mall of America, at the travel information centers, at all the points around the state where you enter Minnesota and you might stop for a map or a restroom and a Fergus Falls Visitors Guide. We also were the group that did support the outdoor facilities referendum for the school this year, because in our experience, that upgraded facility would have been able to bring more people and tournaments to Fergus Falls. In fact, the hockey arena, or the ice arena last year for youth hockey alone, brought $126,000 of spending into Fergus Falls. So those kinds of things we really support as much as possible. We also created the welcome banners in downtown Fergus Falls, and we're the group behind the Welcome to Fergus Falls monuments that we hope will be up by at least the end of the summer, hopefully the end of June. And lastly, we really focus on two groups: the leisure traveler, and that's the person who might be traveling for vacation with their family, and then the group traveler. And those are really the group sports, the conventions that meet at the Bigwood Event Center and things like that. And of course, looking ahead to 2013, we are proud to be hosting the Minnesota Governor's Deer Opener in November, and some other conferences. The Minnesota Mayors Association will be coming in 2014, so we thank you for that opportunity. And just at any time, I would welcome you to ask or visit if you have questions about how we promote Fergus Falls for tourism in Fergus Falls. Any questions? I went fast because I know you have a lot to do tonight.
Thank you. Very
You're welcome.
well
Thank
done.
you for your
We
support.
appreciate it. The next item would be open forum, and we no longer have a participant, and we'll go on to the consent agenda. The following are non-controversial items intended to be approved with one motion without discussion. If a council member, staff, or member of the public would like to discuss an item, please ask it to be removed, and it will be placed elsewhere on the agenda. Item 1. Resolution to accept the preliminary engineer's report from Moore Engineering for Public Improvement 5269 and 5270, Vernon Avenue and Court Street improvements, and authorize proceeding with Phase 1. Item 2, resolution to initiate Public Improvement 7181, the street and utility replacement project on Alcott Avenue from Sheridan to Arlington, and add to City Project 5948. Item 3, a resolution to initiate Public Improvement 5263, the Oak and Maple Street Railroad Crossing Closure Project. Item 4, resolution to initiate Public Improvement 9342, Airport Improvement Projects. Item 5, resolution to accept a donation in the amount of $58,461.93 from the 544 Foundation for the Community Arena. Total collected to date is $2,135,082.93. Item 6, resolution to schedule a final cost hearing for Public Improvement 5850, a bituminous alley improvement on June 17, 2013 at 5:30 p.m. Item 7, a motion to approve open and closed minutes from the May 6, 2013 City Council meeting. And item 8, a motion to approve licenses, and you have a list of those in your packet. I'll entertain a resolution to approve the consent agenda.
I'll offer that, Your Honor.
Scott, thank you. Second?
Second, Your Honor.
Jim? Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Under ordinances and resolutions, there are no first readings this evening, but we have several second readings. Item 1 is Ordinance 147, 6 Series Public Nuisances. And unless there are any questions or comments, we will simply take a roll call. Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. The second would be Ordinance 148, 6 Series Composting. Someone offer that.
We just need a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Roll call.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Item 3 is ordinance 149, 6 series, storage, deposit, and disposal of refuse. And again, we need a roll call. Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Under resolutions, item 4 would be a resolution to approve water pipe easement with Otter Tail Power. Ann Martins, would you care to comment?
Yes, we've discussed this at previous meeting. This is an easement adjacent to the water plant to cross Otter Tail Power property. It's for our service lines that go to the reservoir.
I will offer that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jim. Second?
I'll second that.
Stan? Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Abstain.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Item 5 is a resolution to accept the professional services proposal from Moore Engineering for Phase 1 of Public Improvement 5269 and Public Improvement 5270 projects. Entertain a resolution.
I'll offer that resolution.
Jim, thank you. Andrew, second. Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Under I, presentation of claims this evening is $2,028,570.56. Any questions, direct them to Bill Sonmore, Finance Director. Otherwise, I'll entertain a resolution. Someone offer that, Randy? Thank you. Second?
I'll second your.
Scott? Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels. Fish.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Under Board Committee and Departmental Reports, first item would be a resolution to accept Planning Commission recommendation to grant Craig Vaughn's request to subdivide lots 27 and 28 of Block 2 of Pebble Hills Estates into 5 parcels instead of 2. And I'll ask Guy Taylor to explain that to us.
So here's lots 27 and 28. Craig has asked that he be allowed to split those into 5 lots. This is the original plat of Pebble Hills Estates. That's how it was platted originally, as 5 lots. He then took away 3 lots and made it 2. So we're just asking, the Planning Commission has recommended that we go back to the original plat of 5 lots. The lots meet all the criteria set forth in the ordinance.
Very good. Ben?
I saw on the planning commission, we're at the planning commission?
Yep.
And they were talking about, we don't have any control over it, but were they covenants or convents? Covenants, okay.
No comments out there.
I saw that.
But anyway, I know we don't have any control over that, but was there discussion amongst the property owner that he was, because they originally had those same covenants?
Right, and the covenants are totally up to that developer and that neighborhood to enforce, and if he's going to implement them on these parcels, that's up to him.
Thanks.
Somebody offer a resolution? Jim?
I'll offer that, John.
There's second?
Have some comment.
Anthony? Roll call, please.
Hornquist.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Sinstler.
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Thank you. There are no reports from staff and administrative officers this evening. There's no old business or unfinished business. Under new business, Ann Martin has an item regarding the airport.
Yes, in front of you is a memo that I distributed this evening. It's a follow-up item similar to
what we were talking about on Vernon Avenue. The project was initiated earlier in the evening on the consent agenda. Basically, this is a service agreement with SEH, who does our engineering services for the airport. It's a service contract for the amount of lump sum of $21,500 for the reflective marker guidance signs and PAPI lighting replacement project. And so I'm looking for authorization to have the city administrator and the mayor execute this agreement.
I'll make that resolution.
Andrew? Anthony, brother? Second?
I'll second, Your Honor.
Jim? Fish? Roll call, please.
Grunquist.
Yes.
Sisseton.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Sisseton.
Yes.
Shives.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Thank you very
The
much.
resolution is approved. Thank you.
Your Honor. Good
Yes.
Under new business, or it actually probably was under old business, on the question for Dan on the Tower Road Bridge, what's the timeline for finishing that in terms of like the footpath walkways? I know they're obviously been out there planting trees.
Their deadline for that project, the existing deadline is June 14th, I believe. So they have about a month left to get the work done. As you point out, majority of it left is landscaping. However, they do have the bituminous bike path to install yet. They also have, I think, a driveway or two to install or replace in there. So there is some other minor construction work. Plus, there's some more signing and striping that has to be done to complete the project. But essentially, they have about a month left on there.
Do we know when they're returning? Yeah, when they're going to come back, returning to Fergus to start the work?
I would expect, I don't know if it'll be next week because of the short week, but they're down to it, only have a couple weeks left, so they're going to have to get here fairly quickly to do it, because they have a couple weeks of work left.
Are they intending to do the bike path before they seed? Because the landscapers are moving faster than the...
Right, the intent was they do have to come back, the landscaping you're seeing now with the shrubs and the trees, they have to come back and do grading on the landscaping and reseeding. A lot of what was done last year was to try to get something established so they wouldn't have so much erosion this spring. So today was probably...
I was going to say that went by the window tonight.
Yeah, it was working well till today.
Pretty good brown stream running down the storm drains.
But, yeah, you're correct. The intent was that the bike path would be completed first, and then they would go in and do the regrading and do the seeding for the landscaping. We'll have to see what this rain does to it, because that's going to really soak up the base, that gravel base for that bike path. It's got to support trucks in the paver to get it done.
And then I on another item, I met with Gordon, who obviously is not here this evening, on a resident talked to me about downtown, and they had four issues, one of which obviously was parking for residents downtown. Another was recycling downtown, a pet area, and noise abatement. And Gordon and I had spoke about that, and he said bring it up obviously at the next council meeting, that, two areas, that we definitely could look at, seeing whether they're feasible would be, the recycling and possible area for some sort of pet area. There's a lot of residents downtown and within the downtown area, and a number of them have pets, and probably if Jay was here, he'd probably appreciate it more. The residents said there's a number of times when there's a small package left on the side of the footpath, and if there was an area for people to take pets, there'd be some education involved, but it would be a start to at least designate somewhere where they could go, and likewise, if we had some recycling bins, that might encourage people to toss some of the litter in the appropriate place. On noise abatement, unfortunately, that falls down to Kyle's department. If there's people making noise, then we'd have to do that. And parking has been, apparently, it's a perpetual thing that gets brought up. So we'll have to see what we can do on that one. But I think somehow or other, if we could look at least, pet walking areas from a feasibility point of view.
Just, I don't know if it helps, from a parking standpoint, we do have spaces available in a number of lots for rent. they're not necessarily the most convenient
Yep.
for people, but we do have them available.
And that was kind of good and said, there's parking, available, it's where it is or when you want it, so, and it's more challenging than just saying, well, we're going to designate this area for residents, so.
I will just add one other thing too, from an enforcement standpoint, as it goes to parking. You're absolutely correct, and we have this constant battle between our retail merchants downtown and our tenants that live downtown. And from an enforcement standpoint, we've kind of taken the stance that we are kind of hands-off in the parking lots behind most of the businesses as far as enforcing, whether it's a 2-hour, we have mostly 2-hour zones, some are 4-hour zones, in hopes that residents will choose to park out there, and have done selective enforcement along Lincoln Avenue and some of the cross streets just to allow that.
Get the traffic to
Traffic
stand
going,
out.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have done, just on our own, some selective enforcement of different areas to try to appease both parties in the downtown situation, so.
Can we call these out and bring them to the next Finance Committee meeting, some of them, and following the Public Works meeting?
Thank you.
Under miscellaneous announcements, first item would be Athletic Republic Run on June 1st, and one of our city employees here is right in front and center. Do you want to tell them about it?
Now there's expectations. Can't walk. No, we just want to remind people that June 1st, that we're going to be hosting this big run. There's a 1 mile, a 5K, and a half marathon that will be taking up a large section of the town throughout the morning. And just there's been some restricted parking. There's going to be a lot of streets barricaded to get the runners safely through. So I remind people that no parking if you live along the race route, especially in Ward 1. And then just being extra cautious throughout the day, as there's been a lot of runners out and about. And it wouldn't hurt to stop and cheer either. They'd probably appreciate that.
Thank you, Lynn. Good luck. The second announcement is Public Safety Facility Open House on Thursday, May 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. Chief, you have anything?
No, we just encourage the public to come over and appreciate the new facility.
Great, good. We're looking forward to it. Any other business to come before the?
Just one real quick question.
Ben?
I meant to ask during the licenses.
Okay.
I didn't recognize the Harvest Fest. Is that something new?
It's a new event, and they've been working with Steve Plaza in the Park and Recs Department. Kind of sounds like an old-style revival type of event that they're looking to.
Sure, we'll be hearing more about it, huh?
I'm sure you will.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
You could use that in comments.